Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show. We got AJ, we got Eric, we got Rudo coming to you live as the Avs are taking on the Ottawa Senators and their new coach in Jacques Martin. A lot of kind of different news today, the biggest of which, Sam Girard, back practicing with the Avs, will not play tonight, but it is great to see Sammy back on the ice and back with the team. Jared Bednar talked about... Oh, go ahead.
Just going to say, very proud of myself on that.
Oh, yeah?
Because there was all this speculation about, like, oh, Girard's not ever coming back.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
And I was like, look, if he's using some of the same programs that a lot of these guys use and going through some of the same treatments and things like that, like, end of December, early January ought to be where it's at.
Honestly, on the scale of the last two guys, because I did go look, and there's never specific stuff with this, of course. But generally speaking, it's usually 2 to 3 months. Girard's been in it for about a month and a half. So this is actually pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it's about 2 weeks earlier than I was like really going to be like, hey.
Start wondering where it's at. Yeah.
But also Bednar kind of dropped a hint recently. I don't know if it was intentional when he said, hey, we're hoping to get an update sometime soon. And so that was going to be like, if it's good to go, he should be back. And he has. And honestly, it was just great news. And waking up and seeing him on the ice and like, oh, this is actually awesome. Like really, really, if he feels like he's ready and he's good to be back.
And
great.
He's not back yet. Lucky's not back yet. But in the last week, both of them you've seen on the ice. And you're going,
Yeah.
January might shape up to be the Avs month again.
Yeah, they're gonna need some help because that schedule.
It gets tough. Tough.
It's a hard schedule.
Which is nice, not a lot of practice.
They're already not practicing.
Yeah, I was going to say they're already. This is the thing I'm going to talk about when they lose this game tonight.
Before we talk about it, Jared Bednar did do his presser today, covered this Girard stuff, also talked about Devon Toews' comments. So let's roll that.
Sam Girard is back skating. Is he looking like an option today, soon?
It won't be today. Yeah, that's his first day on the ice with the team. We'll treat it like any injury. He's healthy now, 100%. Get him up to speed and get him back in as soon as we can. But we'll just monitor him and keep an eye on him when he's on the ice. We'll converse every day, and when he's feeling like he's ready to play, then he'll go in. But it won't be today.
There's a couple other guys missing this morning. Nate, Ross,
Colton. Yeah, maintenance, both guys. They'll go tonight.
Cal McCarr's good to go?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, potentially.
Whenever Sam went in the program, you said that you hadn't talked to him yet, but you hope to have some communication. How much communication did you have with him?
Yeah, I didn't talk to him while he was in there. I know, we had guys talk to him, like our medical staff and whatnot. CMAC checked in on him, so we got updates on how things were going. They went well. We're excited to have him back. Obviously, a big piece of our team, and the sooner we can get him up and ready to join our team, the better off we're going to be.
See, Devon said what he said after the game. It's kind of made national news, but I mean, is he saying anything that's not being said privately to the team?
No, I don't think so. I think that was a little frustration on Devon's part, but I think he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong. I mean, we see it. We have to commit to the detail of our system, what's required from the work ethic, competitive standpoint within that system, and some of our decision making. It's not where it needs to be, especially this time of year. Teams are starting to tighten up, get better at what they're doing, and we've sort of taken a step backwards over the last 10 games in this segment, and now we're on to a new segment. So we have to fix it. We've had a handful of meetings that we've discussed things on, but now it's time for action. We have to be better in some areas, because we'll do things the right way for significant length of time, and then we're giving up too many easy goals against when other teams aren't giving us easy goals. We're having to go earn everything that we get.
Is it resistance to?
No, I don't think there's any resistance. It's just it can take some time for 20 guys to figure it out together.
Is that a situation where you have the discussion yourself and then kind of turn to the leaders of your team and have kind of see how they're dealing with it within the team?
Well, they certainly have to take some ownership of it, right? Like they're the guys in the room playing the game, and they're the guys that really have set the high standard that we have here, right? Regardless of who's in or out of the lineup, opponent, whatever, like we want to play as hard and as detailed as we possibly can, because that's like our process long term. You know, the better you can work those habits and develop those habits of playing the right way, the better chance you have of winning long term are, right? So if it starts to slip, we bring things to their attention in our daily meetings, right? Like, what are the areas that we're really good at? What needs to get better? What's giving us trouble? Why is this giving us trouble? And we discuss it. But yeah, they certainly have to continue that conversation within the room in order for it to improve.
He seemed to have specific players in mind when he was making those comments. He just kind of like really specified on a certain group. But when you guys are having these conversations, is it a team conversation? Are you guys having one-on-ones? Or could there be a case of somebody in the locker room hearing his comments and thinking, is it me, is it not me?
Well, I mean, yeah, I get. Obviously, they heard his comments. Are you talking about me having one-on-ones? Yeah, we have one-on-ones all the time. Yeah, we have one-on-ones all the time, well, daily, and line meetings and team meetings. Like, we're pretty much same schedule. You know, play a game. If it's not a day off, next day's game review. How'd it look? What did the numbers look like? You know, we dig into all different areas of the game, and then the assistant coaches break down a lot of us like individual video and sit with guys. And Toby does the same, UC does the same, I do it, depending on my schedule. And yeah, so those things happen when we're winning 9 of 10.
So
that was Bedsy on a whole lot of situations there. Obviously, the biggest one being that Devontae situation. Eric, I know you and Megan talked about it the other day, so we don't have to go too deep into it. But looking for a response tonight from the Avs based on those comments?
You would think so.
I hope so.
And yeah, that's right. I think hope is a big word there. It sounds like, you know, everybody's on the same page about agreeing what was said, so it's not like there's dissension or people are fighting about it. Like, he was right. I mean, like Bednar just said, he was right. And, you know, he just kind of called out what he felt was, and like you tweeted, and I talked about it yesterday, the consistency of being inconsistent.
Yeah, it's
or
the
whatever.
only thing they're consistent at is being inconsistent.
And that's not a good thing. Being inconsistent is not a good thing as an individual, but especially as a team. So I'm looking for a big bounce back game tonight. I do believe they come out of it, but then you want them to come out of it the next game and the next game, and just kind of string a little bit of an effort that's more a 60-minute effort with no brain farts, and you know, like they've been talking about. So
being consistently good starts with tonight, right? You
100%.
Can't play 3 games tonight. You can only play this one. And you have 3 keys to making this game a success for the Avs.
So let's go with start on time. It's a cliche, but so important. As we saw last week, the Avs have won their last 3 at home, right? Mm-hmm. When they jump on teams, there's 60 minutes in a game, but the game is almost already over in the first period. So let's make sure that they start on time. This is a team, Ottawa, that's on the 5th game of a 5-game road trip.
Yep.
You can tell they just want to go home. So, you know what? Put them out of their misery, jump on them early, and make them pay. Push the pace today. Push the pace. Number 2, respond to the challenge, right? Respond to the challenge. We heard Taser's comments. We heard the coach's comments. We heard the inconsistency issues. Just respond as an individual tonight, and then obviously it will lead to as a response from the team. So take care of your own business. Do it as a team. Go from there, which leads me to number 3, togetherness. You come out of this thing as a team. You know, there's no individuals tonight. There's a streak. You know, McKinnon's got a streak, right? What is it? A 5,000 game streak of a point. But, you know,
kind of feels that way, right?
Yeah, it feels like forever, which is awesome. I'm not making fun of them. But play as 5-man units, you know, like Taze said, you know your assignment, know where you're going, make sure that makes your teammate right next to you know what you're going to do. So don't be a wild card. and then have a common goal from all 20 guys dressed. Might get some fresh bodies back. We'll talk about this. Obviously we're not too sure yet on what the lineup's going to be, but hopefully, cross your fingers, you get some fresh bodies and make Ottawa pay. They're going to be hungry. They got a new coach, as we know. This is their second game with a new coaching staff. Daniel Alfredson, franchise legend, and then Jacques Martin.
Did you see that video the other day of Daniel Alfredson giving it to that guy on their fourth line?
He was upset.
It was like a...
I didn't see that.
It was kind of like a lazy forecheck, and then he gets off for a change, and Alfredson points at him as he's coming off the ice and points to the end of the bench and tells him to stay there.
Ooh, I like that. I loved Alfie. I played with him, to be honest with you. He was an awesome, different player than Landy. It's not what I'm trying to say, but this is a Swedish guy that just played the game the right way, was more skilled than Landy, but wasn't afraid to talk in the locker room.
Yeah.
Was a great leader. That's where I'm drawing the similarities, not as players, but as individuals. I love that guy, and he's going to do wonders for that team. He's an awesome throwback, but old school hockey player.
So let me ask you guys this. Which team is under more pressure tonight? Obviously, the Avs putting some pressure on themselves with those comments that we just talked about, but Ottawa has a new head coach. Their season is essentially on the line if they don't kind of string together some better hockey here. Which side of this is feeling it more? Is Ottawa maybe feeling a little bit more free because they have that new head coach? Do the Avs feel like this is just motivation and less pressure? Where's it at?
I actually think it's still Ottawa.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Obviously, like the Avs feel their pressure for their own things.
It's a little bit different when it's internal, though.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, they're a couple points now out of first place, and like they've had a bad couple of weeks, and their bad couple of weeks is 500.
Yep.
And like that is a little different than like, okay, they just fired the head coach.
Right.
If this still doesn't get better, and this was a season that we walked in with expectations, they've spent money, they've invested in long-term contracts
turning
in a
the
lot of
corner
these
year
guys.
for
Yes,
them. Yeah,
exactly. And if they've fired the coach, and if firing the coach doesn't work, the next thing that you do is fire the players.
Yep.
And so I think there are some guys that they've got to be feeling the pressure. Of course, in this individual instance, as Eric mentioned, you're in the 5th game of a 5-game road trip out west.
It's a tough one regardless,
It's
for
a
sure.
tough one.
Eastern teams don't win those. Western teams don't win them when they go out east, and they're at the end of that. When the Avs have that 6-game thing in
that last
January,
one's going to be a struggle.
They're losing that last game.
You're like, I just want to come home.
Exactly.
And you're losing that first game back too at home.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that there's more pressure on Ottawa because they are fighting for, and they're in a much tougher conference.
Much tougher.
They just cannot cede any more ground. Wow, that Lightning game changed.
I didn't even see.
It's 4-2 Tampa now.
Let's go Tampa!
When we sat, as an aside, when we sat down, it was 2-0 Vegas.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, it's 4-2.
That's hockey, baby. But yes,
anyway, yeah.
To your point, the Avs are a team that I think certainly believe in themselves to be better than they have been. Whereas Ottawa is a team that this core certainly has never really taken that next step before.
Yeah.
So
what's got to be frustrating is that it is a talented group.
You look at it and you think they should be able to take that step, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Tim Stützle and Josh Norris down the middle.
Oh, yeah.
You've got your building blocks. You have Thomas Chabot. I know he's hurt right now.
Brady Tkachuk.
But yeah, Thomas Chabot and Jake Sanderson as top defenders. Like, you've got the building, like the big building blocks are in place. Then you add in, you have a Brady Tkachuk who's also your captain.
Yeah.
That's kind of their Landy equivalent, right?
Yeah.
And they've got their McKinnon equivalent, and they've got, I guess in this case, their Rantanen equivalent. And I guess maybe not. I'm not going to say Josh Norris is their Rantanen equivalent.
That's a tough comparison.
Yeah, but Josh Norris is like he's a really good second line center.
Sure.
And so you're talking about a team that's like the pieces are there. And it's not that they lack complementary talent around those cats either. It just hasn't gelled for whatever reason.
Yep.
And so this is not, all this to say, this is not a team that you should walk in and just say, well, look at these lineups. Of course, how did that go 2 days ago?
Yeah.
I understand. But
Yeah, shut up, AJ.
don't make any of those big mistakes against these guys because they will bury you. They're good.
Well, they're. I think before last game they were 10th in offense in the league, so that hasn't been their problem. Keeping the puck out of their own net has been their problem, right? And that's why Jacques has been brought in, Jacques Martin, and old school, and was coaching them. I mean, actually, I played in Ottawa 20-some years ago, and he was my coach. So, came out of retirement, and he's going to try to stabilize a little bit of how to play a game, in the NHL, and not just rely on your talent and your offense. So, that's what he's there on an interim base, but he'll bring some structure to the defensive play, and then they're a good team. They're a good team, but at what point do you go and say, okay, do we have the right guys? You know what I mean? Right? I'm not saying talent-wise, but like they all have the money, right? They're all making the money now.
Yeah.
And is it like, do we have the wrong nucleus? You know what I mean? Do we have the wrong core? You know what I mean? And you have to look at that.
This is a thing I know you've talked about a couple of times of how teams operate, just on the business side of things. Because you look at two of the teams that really thought they were in prime position to take a meaningful step forward this year are Buffalo and Ottawa. And they haven't. Mm-hmm. Now, they have similar problems in goaltending and defense.
Yep.
But they also have similar structures in that they have given a lot of money for a long time to some guys who haven't done very much in the NHL. And is it too much too soon?
That's my point.
And they are interesting test cases versus how, again, we've compared them before versus how Detroit's doing business. So which one is more successful? Which one is the better way to go? It's interesting. I mean, I know we're kind of taking a macro conversation, but
I mean, and like it's even then, it's not that simple, right? Because
of course
you can have the right strategy and pick the wrong players, or
like Jonas Korpisalo.
Exactly.
It's a little different with Buffalo when you're like, we're willing to live with 22-year-old Devin Levi, who's going to be a star in this league.
He'll get there eventually.
Yeah. versus Jonas Korpisalo is a big money goaltender that we went out and invested.
A guy who arguably cost the Kings a series last year.
Absolutely. I would say so, yes. So you different approaches, different big decisions there. But if you get it wrong, you just get it wrong. And you're just kind of stuck.
Glad it's not the Avs problem right now.
I mean, they don't have a lot of years and money invested in it, but Alexander Georgiev's got a lot of proving himself to do right now.
That's true.
The leash that he earned from last year's stellar performance,
a whole lot of it so far
is running out.
Yep.
And,
I agree.
You're getting to that point where it's like you've got to start feeling like it's turning around.
Yep.
And that's if last game happened in the fourth game of the season,
you wouldn't be sweating it.
No, we would be like, look at this defense. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Look at the chances that he gave up. But because we are where we are right now,
you're 32 games in. I think he has a sub 900 save percentage.
Exactly.
Man. Like,
because of that, you are having the conversation of like, you just need one more.
Yep.
You're not asking for a revolution here. You just need one more.
Yep.
Hold Ottawa to 2 or less tonight, and you win. And if you don't,
then it's not on Georgiev, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Just be better than the guy across from you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just be better than
out-duel the other goalie.
That's it.
I'm not even here for it tonight. If they win 6-4, I'm mad at Georgiev. He might be the only guy I'm mad at, but I'm mad at Georgiev.
What if they win 6-4 and they face 50 shots? You're still mad at Georgiev?
There's no way they're facing 50.
I know.
Probably not.
They might not face 30 tonight.
Probably not, honestly. I'm probably okay with that. It won't be my favorite.
I did not bet on the over on saves, but I did bet on the Avs offense to either keep it going or figure it out. Druin, positive money for a point. He's been hot as of late. Would love to see him keep it going in that top 6.
Are you just going with the guys on streaks at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
My man.
At plus 185, a nuke power play point feels pretty good,
Dude.
man. He's been a power play monster this year. So.
He had 10 power play goals last year.
He's got 9 already this year.
9 right now. 9.
So
He's taking Mikko's job as the power play goal guy.
get him one more tonight. Get me a little bit of money. And then I took the Avs to win the most periods. Because if you win the most periods, you're usually going to win the game. It's not a complicated process there for Colorado.
You should, but of course you could win the first
1-0, win the second 1-0,
and then lose the second period
4-1 or
exactly.
something.
Shit.
Avs have done that once or twice.
Yeah.
So there is some of that to it, but make sure you are betting with Bet365. Use the DNVR 365 code when you sign up. Let them know we sent you over there and get a bunch of amazing boosts, including if you want to parlay some of my bets, you get a 30% parlay boost with the NHL. So jump on it. Go to Bet365. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today, but don't burp into the phone. Don't do that.
I mean, it'd be pretty funny if you did.
Those poor customer service workers. I didn't do this. This wasn't my fault. As the Avs do get ready for this game, Makar was a game time decision. He is in tonight. Caleb Jones, the one coming out. So Sam Malinsky continues to get some leash here.
Just have a spasm there. Just,
No, the boys.
yeah, just kicking the table.
And I kicked the table. I got excited.
I know.
got excited. The boys are here.
Animal over here.
Going into tonight with the stuff that Devon Taves talked about,
Yeah.
is it important for the Avs to have a full team-wide effort, or are there some specific guys you want to see it from? Besides Georgiev, obviously, we already talked about.
I think you said it. I think you said 4. That's the guy, man. Now that Makar's back, he could be insulated as he needs to be. He just needs to play better. That's
No doubt about that.
That's the number one guy on the entire roster that I have. Like, between expectations and quality of play, this has to go up.
The gap is too big.
It has to go up.
And he's better than that. He's better than what he's shown. He hasn't, we talk about potential all the time with him, but his ceiling, who knows where it's at, but his game's always been better than what he's shown.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago, even last year.
Yep.
I just feel, you're talking about inconsistent. This year's been really inconsistent. But what I was not happy with is Makar's been gone the last 2 games. You don't replace Makar, but you can elevate your game and help compensate with the loss of Makar. And I just didn't like his game.
AJ had talked about this, I think it was a couple weeks ago, but he was saying maybe Byram's a guy that you just let play through it. Maybe you just have to play him a ton of minutes for him to get the engine going.
Yeah.
Well, the Avs gave him 22, 23 minutes with Makar out, and it didn't go well.
Yeah. And, like, Devon Taves didn't have a good game in Chicago.
Definitely not.
No. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yes.
So it's not like this is solely on Bo, but Devon Taves has still been pretty damn good this year.
He's lived up to expectations where you expect him to turn around and have a good night tonight.
Yeah, and his two-way game has once again been very good.
Yep.
There are some down games.
Of course.
But with Byram, you've had way more holy shit bad games than holy shit good games.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's just not where you want to be at this part of his career.
Yep.
I know he's missed a lot of time and all that, but he's also been a full-time member of the NHL for multiple years now.
Yes.
Like, want to see some of this start to break through a little bit.
This is a guy that the Avs are actively using as a top 4D. Top 4D don't have a whole lot of holy F bad games.
Yeah.
It's just the reality. At least good top 4D. Put it that way.
But yeah, there's a lot of guys that play in the top 4 in the NHL that shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, and I use Kale, but it was Sammy G. I mean, obviously Sammy's been out for a while, but you're missing guys that are in your top 4. Like, you got to step up. You got to play better than what you've shown.
Yep. Maybe that's the lesson here. How much the Avs really missed Sammy G over
An awful
this
lot.
stretch of hockey. Yeah.
I mean, his absence has been notable.
For sure.
And we'll get into this later, but it has been very it's just obvious how important he is to just giving a
To round out
baseline
that
performance.
defense. Yep.
Just a steady, reliable, this is what he's going to do for you.
Can play
And
him
how-
18 minutes a night and not worry about
Yeah,
it.
how important it is to the Avs.
Yep.
It is. It's important. It's big. They need it.
We are about 10 minutes away from puck drop now, so we're going to wrap up this pre-game show. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us for it. We have a watch-along coming your way. If that's your thing, join in and watch the game with us. And whether that is or is not, join us for the post-game where we'll break down whatever happens tonight, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. We've got you fully covered. So like and subscribe here on YouTube. Show us some love, and we will talk to you either in a couple of minutes or after the game.
We all silly like the mayor.